Hello everyone, welcome to Joking Dolphin on YouTube. I'm Mark, and as always, I'm joined by Mathew
Oh,
and Nathan.
Hello.
And this is Top of the Pod. This is where we take different aspects of gaming and make them compete against each other in a knockout tournament to see which is best, or maybe even the worst. But this time, it's the best. It's a good one today. It's the best PS4 exclusive.
Yep, it's cracking games.
So we've got 12 games, and they're set up into 6 matchups. Then the 6 winners will go through to the next round, which will be 3 matches, and then we'll have a final, which will consist of the final 3 games.
okay.
So, shall we just get straight into it?
Let's do it.
Looking forward to it.
Okay, so matchup 1. 2 rules. These have all been picked at random, and these matchups are made at random. And the second rule is we've only included games that at least one of us has played, because we can't include games that we've not played, can we? It just won't be allowed.
No time for that shit.
We'd have nothing to talk about, would we?
No.
Okay, matchup 1. Marvel Spider-Man against Bloodborne.
Oh, very interesting matchup from the get-go.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Indeed.
2 different kinds of games. I've not played Bloodborne myself, but I've heard it be compared to the Souls series in terms of its difficulty and gameplay.
Well, I mean, it is made by From Software, so I'd be surprised if Bloodborne wasn't like a Souls game.
Just an easy game for kids.
This is a bit of a difficult one. I've not played Bloodborne myself, but I've watched like a let's through. Getting words mixed up there. Let's through rather than a walk play. I've watched a let's play, shall we say? And the game looks incredibly fun. Very deep and lore, surprisingly. Well, maybe not surprisingly. We've been From Software. They love digging in lore in their games and stuff. Really fun. Look, as difficult as you'd expect. It's probably the most like fluid looking game they've ever made. Because we see like Dark Souls. It's a lot about learning sort of enemy placements and kind of timing stuff with kind of maybe it might be a little clunky maybe nowadays, the original Dark Souls. But like Bloodborne's really smooth, fluid. Like the dodgings looks responsive and useful. Like some games where they have a dodge and it's a bit like you might as well just sidestep to something on. And then obviously you've got the bosses, which are just the design of them are just like I don't know whose mind they come out of, but they're very twisted individuals.
Yeah, someone's got a really messed up mind to think of these monsters.
Very messed up.
So I played a bit of Bloodborne, not much of it. But it's just too challenging for my liking.
Too challenging.
It's just.
I'd hate it then.
It's just. I mean, I like the idea of it, but it's just like
too much hard work.
I can't see me ever having the patience to try and get through it, or the skill. Actually, I just don't have the skill for it.
Yeah, I tried going through the original Dark Souls. I didn't get too far in it. Like I remember being my first boss, and then I think I ran into like a night enemy that was just giving me way too much difficulty to a point where I was just like, I've not got the time to invest in learning this, unfortunately.
The things about these games is that even like let's say the lower enemies are still quite difficult.
Oh yeah. It's for people who love a challenge and have probably got a lot of time on their hands. Like I'm sure maybe 21-year-old Mathew would probably enjoy the Souls games and Bloodborne.
If you're into Bloodborne, you're really into Bloodborne.
Yeah. Like
have to sink
if
a
you
lot of
love
time.
those type of games, then it's probably like a treat to play that kind of stuff. It's probably like right up your
Yeah.
alley, and I
The
can
thing-
see why it's regarded as like, well, arguably, Sony PS4's greatest game of the generation. I can see why, and that's why it's on this list.
There's the Soulsborne games. They do feel like events because they're just a bit different from any other game, really, aren't they? In terms of their challenge and difficulty and that kind of thing. They always seem to have that nice cult status because of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, definitely. I've heard that when you do beat a boss, it is very rewarding though once you do it because you've got to try that many times, and plus, I've also heard that the loading screens are fairly long. So when you do die, then you do have to wait a while to get back into the game. So I mean, a bit of that might be good because you can contemplate what you might have done wrong, reformulate what you're going to do next, and then try again. But yeah, I think for me, I've not got the patience to really get on board with it. And it might be a fantastic game, but again, I've not played it, so.
Shall we move on to Spider-Man then?
Yeah. Right.
So go on then.
Before I started, I told myself this is easily going to be top 4 already. So you probably know what I'm going to pick. But yeah, I think Spider-Man is just a fantastic game. When you're web slinging through the city, it just feels amazing. When you're just about to hit the ground and then you sling up onto a building and you're just dragging it through the air, it just feels great. The fighting's good as well. There's nothing like grabbing onto like a cone or something, swinging it around and smashing it into somebody. It just feels really satisfying to do. And the story, not to mention the story as well, it's great. Seeing Peter's story and Miles as well, and it gives him a really good starting point for what the next game's going to be. So yeah, for me, I just thought it was just a fantastic game, an easily top 5 PlayStation game in this generation.
Are you a fan, Matthew?
Fan? Ooh. No, not really.
Or is that a stupid question?
Probably a stupid question.
You don't like Peter Parkour?
Yeah.
No, not Peter Parker. That's a talk for another time. Well, we've talked about him plenty of times, Mr. Peter Parker.
Which one?
The
Two and a
new
half.
one, shall we?
Mm.
The new one. But putting
Is
that,
equal twin.
he's equal to. Okay. Putting Mr. Parkour to one side. I don't know what I could say about this the Spider-Man game. Easily for me the best traversal around any open world game since I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Maybe Batman from Arkham Knight, like how he moves is really well done and really nice, fluid, gliding. But just the swinging, being able to run along the building walls as well. Like they've done so well in being able to keep the speed going through the city. So there's never one point where you stop, you've hit a wall, and now you've got to like start all over again with your speed. Like the things that they thought about to be able to do that. It's just fantastic. Easily the best swinging mechanics since, well, at least Spider-Man 2 for the Xbox and PS2 and GameCube. Combat as well. I mean, it's taken influence from the Batman games. I don't think anyone could argue with that. But I would make an argument that I think it improves on it in just a way of that, like when you counter, you're not necessarily sort of countering and keep on like, I suppose, punching or hitting the people. You're like slithering, through the legs, or you're I don't know, doing cartwheels around them.
So there's a lot more defensive play to it than just attack.
Yeah, like obviously Batman's a very brutal guy. He wants to break your face in, but like Spider-Man's more got more finesse to it. Like he's very much like a
Just wants to incapacitate.
yeah.
Although I swear he's killed people.
Oh yeah.
That when you
Oh, he's
that when you
definitely
wave
killed
them off the building,
Yeah,
and then they
that's
happen
it.
to
They
be
are
just stuck
not
to the side of the building.
surviving.
It's like no,
No.
that just
They're
wouldn't
stuck, but if like no one's seen they're stuck,
Yeah,
like in
yeah.
2 hours' time, they're going to
How'd you
come
get 'em down?
crashing down.
Yeah,
That's it. What happens when that webbing dissolves?
Yeah.
We know the police aren't very, very good. Otherwise, there won't be any Spider-Man.
I have to say the dodging mechanic got me to begin with because it's circle in this, isn't it?
Mm.
Dodge.
Yeah,
Whereas obviously in Batman it's triangle. So I kept mashing
Yeah,
triangle and just
go-
like
go-
get
go.
shot at all
yeah.
Why is this
got to
happening
learn,
to
Mark.
me?
I just love how you can juggle enemies as well. Just like being able to like punch them into the air, then you jump up, you band them around, you swing them around, you sling back to them, you keep on punching them some more.
Yeah, so
It's
kick 'em
just
in
so
the air,
it's just so beautiful.
web them and then pull them down. It's behind the
Oh
thing.
yeah, and then where them pull them down, or then you're in the air, you pull one up to you, and you just carry
Yeah.
on like combo going on. So good. I mean, and then there's the gadgets as well, which I don't think I really use them as much as probably they warrant to be used, because like a lot of them are very handy, like having the web, I suppose the web blaster, so you can shoot them into the wall. Or there's the web grenades, which like web up numerous in a circle.
Yeah. I think I use them more personally for the stealth sides of the game. So when you're like balanced on top of a beam and you've got to try and stop people from trying to find out you're there, I think at that point those bits, for me anyway, came into their own, where I could incapacitate people and stop them from shouting. So yeah,
kind of use them to separate people. That's what that was always my method, to try and separate people.
Yeah, no, that was handy, and it fits in with kind of like Pierre's personality in the story as well. He's a scientist. He does create his own gadgets and comes up with stuff. Which I suppose to segue into the story, I think it's one of the most emotional Spider-Man stories I think I've played in any game, or even like maybe media.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, I mean, maybe outside of Spider-Man 2, because that had quite a good amount of
It was the Stan Lee
emotions
cameo,
about.
wasn't it? That's what it was.
Well, I mean, the Stan Lee cameo
that
helps.
got me, that did.
But yeah, that hit me right at the start. I was like, oh, no, Stan.
Yeah, you were always my favourites. Oh, stop it,
Yeah.
Stan. No.
Why?
Oh, you were my favourite Stan.
Godspeed, Stan.
Yeah, it's you. It's always been you.
But it's just there's a lot of emotion between. Like, obviously, you had like Pierre and MJ. There was like
on-off relationship.
sort of on again, off again relationship. They were getting back together in the game, then they were splitting up again. They were getting wires crossed, like I think I mentioned in a previous podcast, with the whole like texting that P was doing to MJ. It's like, it's over. And she's like, oh, okay. Like, no, not that. And that was good. And then I really think his relationship with Otto Octavius was really well done, to the point that like that sort of last cutscene that they get to share together. It's just so emotional for me. Like I was shedding tears.
I felt really bad for Otto because you can really see things from his point of view. I mean, it's tough for what happened to him.
That's the mark of a good villain, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's the ones where you can understand.
Well, that's it. A good villain is the
you
one
might not
where
agree
you
with it.
understand where he's coming from.
Yeah, you might not agree with it, but you can understand why they did what they did. So,
Yeah. And I obviously like. I think all the supporting characters as well were really well realized as well. MJ, Miles was really good as well. Like his father dies during the game, doesn't he?
No, his dad doesn't die.
Does it not?
Not during the game now.
Okay, maybe it's something that comes up in the next game potentially. I don't know. I don't know if I want to spoil that or not. Are we okay to go into spoiler territory in this?
Well, we've all played it, so.
I mean, we've all played it, but obviously people are watching.
Right. Spoiler
always
alert. Boo, 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 boo. Right, we're going to be saying spoilers for Spider-Man now.
Well, he already has.
I'd
Oh,
already done it.
Has he not?
It was a bit late.
I thought you were going to talk about Aunt May dying.
Let's move on. Let's
we can
Cut all this out.
we can call this that out. That's fine. I don't really want to talk about spoilers, but like we haven't obviously gone too far in the what we're talking about anyway. But anyway, yeah, really good side characters. And then just graphically, I think it's a really well.
Yeah, it is beautiful.
Good looking game.
Apart from those puddles.
Apart from the puddles, yeah. Not enough puddles. Maybe in the remastered
Need more puddles.
we'll get our puddles there. But
going back to the web slinging around the city, I have to say it's probably the only every open world game I always look for a fast travel method.
Yeah,
I'd say this is probably one of the very few. Another one, which is another particular game that we talk about later, but in this particular one, it's you just want to keep doing it, don't you? Even if you have to go to the other end of the map. It's I've got my entire map to play with there.
I mean, it's just so fun, isn't it? I think Matt touched on it earlier. It's just so seamless. Like, even if you think you're going to crash, you start running on the wall, and it just makes it so fluid and nice, and you feel good doing it.
And you can mix it up with some assaults as well, can't you?
Well, that's it. You can do your tricks.
Oh yeah, those fun little tricks. And
stuff. There's also the speed burst thing, isn't there? Where you pull yourself forward.
Yeah.
That was fun, yeah.
I thought the little side missions were quite good. Because when you do them side missions, you get access to new suits. So it makes it worth it doing that, because when you get access to new suits, you get new powers, new abilities.
The suits are great.
I mean, I didn't 100% it myself, but I did quite a few of the side things because I wanted to get access to certain suits because I thought they looked really cool. Like that one with the mohawk spikes. I thought that, amazing. But yeah, I know. Was it you, Matt, that 100%ed it? Or did you both 100% it?
Yes, I've 100%ed it. Yeah.
I've 100%ed it, but I don't think Mark's actually got the platinum for his 100%.
No, I might
not. More or less remember. I think
there's
there's something else you need to do.
Do you need to get 3 stars for all the?
No, I've not got all 3 stars. Some I've got 2.
I don't know what it is then. I don't know.
Did you do the hidden 4 opportunity ones?
Yes, I've done all them.
All them.
Anyway, whatever. But yeah, for me, between Bloodborne and Spider-Man, it's got to be Spider-Man for me that moves.
That's his made his choice. Go
on, yeah, I think it's an easy choice for me. Like, I'm gonna go with Spider-Man just because, well, one, I've not personally played Bloodborne as much as it does look like a brilliant game. I don't think we can argue that it's a top tier game, but fortunately this is a bit of our own picks list, so I've got to go Spider-Man.
Well, my argument against Bloodborne is the fact that I think it alienates a lot of players.
Is it difficult for difficult sake, do we think?
Yeah, I have to take against a game that intentionally makes it inaccessible to a lot of players. I think that's my issue with it. Despite it being clearly a great game, but if not most players can get onto it, then I can't go with it. So yeah, I'm gonna go Spider-Man.
Fair enough.
Clean sweep. Okay, matchup 2.
Spider-Man moves on. Whee!
Matchup 2 is Astrobot's rescue mission against Until Dawn.
Ooh, interesting. Very interesting.
Now, I've not played Astrobot.
I've not played a lot of it, but I've played it.
And what's your thoughts about it? Because I've heard very positive things about it.
I think it's a fun little platformer. The VR in it is set up quite well to a lot
of people are saying it's like one of the best VR games there is. Particularly PSVR anyway.
I can't confirm nor deny that. I mean, it handles well. Like I like how it's like. So you got your little character like in front of you, and you can look around, around yourself, separate from the character. And then when your character kind of moves, you have to like follow it around with the headset. which is kind of cool. And then like you can sort of go out levels looking for like little secrets if there is and stuff. But the platforming is solid. It's a really nice platformer. And, I think graphically it's one of the nicer looking VR games. Don't really know what else to really say about it other than it's just a solid game. Unfortunately I haven't played so much of it. I would like to probably dust off the old VR and get a fair shot at some point.
I mean, it can be that difficult to set up, and it's that barrier that sometimes stops you from going on it because you've got to get it all plugged in, got to get the VR headset out, make enough space to actually play it properly. But yeah, I mean, for me, I've not played either of the games. I've looked into a bit of Until Dawn, and it does seem quite a fun game because it like factors in a lot of like horror movie tropes and things, especially in the early game. So I've heard, and it can be quite funny. And then later on in the game, it does take a bit of a turn, but
just a bit.
Just a bit.
Well, I wouldn't know. But yeah, from what I've seen, it does look quite a fun game, definitely early on. And people try to have sex whenever they can, which is another trope of horror movies. Like, listen, you're probably going to die. Well, actually, saying that, go out with a bang. Why not? But yeah, that seems quite a fun game. And it's made me want to buy it and play it from what I've seen of it.
Yeah, it's kind of like just the standard teenage horror film, but in a game form, really, isn't it? That's what it is.
Yeah.
With all the young uns
Yeah,
into an isolated cabin.
Yeah.
Thinking they can have a good time, and then things go terrible.
It seems to have taken some elements from the Telltale games in terms of like the quick events and things.
Yes.
After you.
No, I interrupted you. I'll come after.
Anyway. Yeah, I was just going to say, I quite like the Telltale games. I know they get a bad rap, but I really like the Walking Dead one. I've not played like the Batman one or any of the others, but I do enjoy them.
Well, that's what I was actually going to bring up. That you pretty much brought for me. The game reminds me of like a very adult Telltale game, where you've got a bit of exploration, and then you've got quick time events of like where do you want to go, like where do you want to take the character's kind of story next, and one choice could be like their lasting effect. And I think the whole challenge is to like keep all the characters alive towards the end of it. Which I watched the Let's Play on that one, and it did look pretty good. Like I actually think it'd be something that we could do if we streamed it. Like if one person played and the other two kind of watched. If one person streamed and the other two watched, then we all make a decision.
Like try and make a decision. Yeah.
I think it would be quite fun.
We'd probably get killed by an ice shard because it takes ages to make decisions.
You do have to make some quick decisions in there.
Well, there is that as well. So like we all just suddenly shout at each other like, "Duh, that win."
The problem I have with Until Dawn is that it gets very top heavy towards the end. Is that it's intentionally seems to make things a lot more difficult. So like you can go through the entire game thinking you're doing well, and then suddenly the game will throw a curveball at you at the end, which will just instantly kill a character, which I didn't like. Instead of like a series of decisions that lead to that thing. You'd be like, oh, you just did this one thing wrong, so now you're dead. Which I just find it a bit unfair. I mean, I want specifically. There's one where you can survive the entire thing, but then it comes down to one. That's in the game. There's a mechanic where you have to keep the controller still. So like, it's like you've got like a monster or creature or something there, and you don't move basically.
Yeah.
But if you move the pad, that's it. You're dead. It's just like,
just put it down.
You just wouldn't know, would you, unless you knew.
That's true.
Because you can like quickly be thrown upon you. I'd say it's got some good actors in it. So I'm actually well known.
Yeah, that's one thing I did hear. It's got good voice actors that make it really engaging.
And they got the actress from Heroes, I think.
Yeah,
the cheerleader, isn't it?
Yeah. Save the cheerleader, save the world.
Yeah.
Rami Malek's in it as well.
Ah,
Good cast.
And then Grant Ward from Agents of Shield.
yes.
I can't remember his name.
Oh, yes.
But he's
it's
in it.
gone.
And he's the most hated character. I don't like
Sounds about right.
That's the one thing about this game, actually, is I pretty much don't like any of the characters.
They all make stupid decisions, don't they?
I should hate the Planeteer's character is probably the only one who has a modicum
sort
of
of
respect about them. All the other ones I find kind of annoying.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, let's do another playthrough and just kill them all. Murderous rampage.
You are the murderer.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're the monster in the woods.
Shall we make a choice then?
Yeah, I'd go with Until Dawn. Until Dawn for me. Yeah.
I think this is a tough one because I know there's a lot of love for Astro Ball.
I do like him. I think it is a solid game. I'll split. I'm going to go with Astrobot.
Ooh.
It's on you, Mark.
The man who's only played neither. No, you played Until Dawn a little bit, didn't you?
Yeah, I played a bit Until Dawn.
Yeah, and I've played neither.
It was on it was PS Plus, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Oh. I think due to its... Oh, this is really tough. This is really tough.
Come on, Mark. You know it makes sense.
That's not attractive at all.
That's what Lisa says.
Moving on.
Until Dawn.
Until Dawn.
That's a tough one. I think I'm going with its atmosphere and its...
Yeah.
Good.
As you say, I think for that group play, I think it could be really enjoyable, like you mentioned in that. So, but yeah, that's a tough one for me, I think. But yeah, I'm going with Until Dawn. So that's through. Matchup 3. Ghost of Tsushima against God of War.
The randomizer has hate.
This one pains me. This
that's really
no.
Mark.
Oh,
this is the dagger to my heart.
Ooh.
Because I love both of these.
Well, I've played neither, so I can't really go on anything. So it really is probably down to you to talk about the games.
Right. Shall we start with God of War, Mark?
Yeah, go on.
So it's a story about a man and his son and their relationship. Is the boy. And the relationship as they grow. As the game starts, the mother's died, and then you got to take her ashes to like the highest point in the realms, and that's
It's
kind
journey
of
all over again.
yeah. And so that's pretty much how it starts. And you fight somebody at the beginning called Boulder, and he's got his own story, but not going into it too much. It's just let's get started with the graphics. It's an absolutely beautiful game.
Yeah,
when you get out of the boat and start walking home, it just looks absolutely fantastic. I'd put it in the same ilk as Horizon Zero Dawn. Well, I don't even know which other game I'd put against it in terms of graphics. It's just such a beautiful game. It's very brutal in terms of its combat.
Not off.
Just a bit. It's just. I love it.
It is really good fun. As mentioned before, best weapon in gaming, I think. The Leviathan axe. What an
Yes.
It's so fun just to play with that.
Yeah, just throwing it at stuff and calling it back.
Yeah,
you just feel like Thor, don't you? A bald-headed Thor with face paint. It's yeah.
But one thing that really struck me about the game, though, is the world design.
Yeah, it's just so full. Like the characters, the side characters, even the people like that build your equipment and help add stuff on, like the jokes they've got, like the creatures that are there.
Yeah, I just find the whole, there's like the lake bit, which is sort of like the central area of the whole thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just find it incredible how they designed that, for the different levels of it throughout the game. I mean, Matt might not know what we're talking about, but he'll discover it. But just the way they designed that to make that work, I just found incredible.
Yeah.
That you can still access all those areas afterwards.
Well, that's it. So you could always go back. I was always interested in like all the ghosts that you find on each of the islands and like their story, and that what you try to do like kind of ties into how they died. I thought that was really interesting, and the dialogue between Kratos and Boy, and all like the little stories that they tell each other, like about the frog and the scorpion, for example. Yeah.
Mimir. What a great character he is.
Yeah.
The head.
Hilarious. Love him.
I like how he just tells you stories, whenever you're in your boat.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a great way of like adding lore to the whole thing. But such good fun.
If anyone doesn't know who he is, he basically knows everything. He might not remember all the time, but he knows. He's such a funny guy. Best Scottish guy ever. Period.
And we can't forget Magical Pig.
No,
Standout
not.
character. Magical Pig.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
But very good game. Okay. I guess that's better.
Ghost of Tsushima time.
Yeah.
We know what we need to do, Mark.
I guess the best part for the other team. But Ghost of Tsushima.
Have we got a shot to take?
Oh yes. Good call.
Right, sake, Ghost of Tsushima. Cheers.
I wasn't told about this. I feel a bit left out.
Do you have sake?
No.
Right.
Right, I'll pour one for you.
Anyway, Ghost of Tsushima.
Passing me.
The great thing about Ghost of Tsushima is I think it's managed to utilize all the great hardware of the PS4.
Cheers.
Because it's come towards the end of the life cycle of the PS4, it's kind of managed to utilize all the great things about it. It's a stunningly beautiful game. It's one of the most best looking games I've seen. Just in terms of its lighting and the effects of it, and the combat, I think is fantastic in terms of its sword play. It's the whole parrying and then timing your swipes to take them down. It's a satisfying combat system, and like every enemy has their own like distinct attack patterns. It's like every enemy you come across, you kind of try and analyze them first before you actually attack them. And then, especially when you got like multiple enemies around you, you're like picking your thing, and it does that thing of like in films, like when in films you don't have, if you've got a load of people attacking one person, they don't all attack the person at the same time, do they?
Yeah, they just go one at a time.
Yeah, and it kind of does that.
Movie trope.
Yeah, it does feel like you're in a proper samurai film. Go on.
What I was gonna say is the combat's not very like, it's not Devil May Cry in that it's like your button bashing effect, is it? Every button's very like, there's a purpose to timing the button against every enemy, when you attack, when you have to parry. Everything's very kind of
it's all about
deliberate in a way that it has meaning through every button press sort of thing, rather than just mindlessly going through like multiple enemies just by kind of pressing one button.
Yeah, pretty much. There's a lot of timing aspect to that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And again, like Spider-Man, I do find it's one of those things where I just want to do that. I just want to because it's such a beautiful environment to go in, that I just want to go through that world. It's a wonderful world to just be in. And there's lots of things to discover. And one negative I will give about it though is some of the side missions can become a bit repetitive.
Okay.
But that's a lot of aspects of a lot of open world games.
Yeah.
Well, it's difficult to fill every facet of it with unique challenges and things.
A lot of games in that field, I would just not 100% it. Whereas this one, I did 100% this.
Is it the beauty of the world that
Oh,
pulls you in? Makes you want to do it?
Yeah, because it's got like every area of the island feels different. It's like you're going through those lush fields of like all different colours. It's just such a gorgeous environment to be in, especially when you go into like the top of a mountain or a hill.
Yeah.
Because they have these shrines on top of these mountains that you have to go in. So it's kind of like it's a bit like an Uncharted traversal up like a small mountain kind of thing. And there's a shrine at the top, and then you worship it. But it always gives you like a gorgeous view of the entire area around you.
So I feel like it's worth it, you getting there.
Yeah, it's just
very, very Assassin's Creed like.
Yeah, sort of, but it's better than Assassin's Creed. I say.
Out.
Sorry, Assassin's Creed.
It is.
Sorry,
Slapped.
Assassin's Creed.
Shall we make a decision then?
I mean, for me, it's got to be God of War because I've not played Ghost of Tsushima. I like it because you like it, and well, I'm going to get it soon, so we'll see. But yeah, I've got to go for God of War for myself.
Your thoughts, Mark?
Well, you've got to make a decision as well, Matt.
I do. But seeing as I've played neither and not given my thoughts, I thought it might be interesting to go with you first, just to see where this might lead for my vote.
Oh, this is so difficult for me. You know what? I'm going to split the vote. I'm going to go Ghost of Tsushima.
I knew you were going to do that.
It's a tough one. It's a really tough, close one. I could have gone with God of War.
Well, let's not get away from it. They're both absolutely amazing games.
Yeah. This will be interesting. This is a problem where like we've got a split of like, right, one person's play one game, one person's probably played another game, or both of them. And there's always come down to one person who's not played it, and I put myself in that position anyway, for entertainment purposes. I'm not sure. Both games do look brilliant. I do need to get around to playing them. Like I got God of War. I've not touched any games of God of War series, to be fair.
I'd implore you to install it. It's amazing. Not trying to sway you or anything. Like install either of them.
I will
because
get
they're
around
both
to it.
amazing.
I'm going to get around to both games at some point because I know Ghost of Tsushima is an excellent game as well. Oh, dear. What do I personally feel?
Either way, you won't disappoint me, Mathew.
Well, that's it. There's no losers.
I won't disappoint you. I might end up disappointing someone, but we'll see.
That's true.
All right. If you were to offer for me to play one of them like right now to do it to completion, I think I'd have to go for God of War.
Fair enough. Understandable.
Just because of like, I think the story. It sounds like the story is a lot more kind of personal and emotional within God of War. I could be wrong. With Ghost of Tsushima, I'm not really. I think it's one aspect of Tsushima. Tsushima. I can't even say it. Tsushima. That I'm a bit kind of still a bit puzzled on. That I'm not sure what's required in it, other than it's obviously like probably kind of old style Japanese kind of samurai story. And that like I think as well we've been like a big open world as well. Sometimes you got to like be mentally prepared to start going through those games as well. Especially if you want to come off of one like say like in Assassin's Creed, I can jump straight into another one. Even when I did Syndicate, I couldn't go straight into Origins. It took me a while to finally kind of get around to it.
You want like a game to break it up that's maybe a 4 or 5 hour experience, or journey.
4 or 5 hour, like a 10 or 12. Like how long is God of War?
15, 16 hours.
That's not bad. So yeah, I think I'm gonna make a choice to go with God of War.
You know what? I'm not disappointed. I can't argue against God of War. It's just them's the breaks in it. It's
as much as
some good ones have got to go.
As much as God of War stole a lot of Game Awards from a favorite game of mine that year as well. But
right, shall we move on to matchup 4?
Let's do it.
Yes.
Okay. Matchup 4 is The Last of Us Part 2 against Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Oh, Matt. Oh, my God, mate. Jeez. Right, let's have your thoughts first.
So I'm guessing you feel the pain like I just did in the last one.
Yeah, but I know there's only one game going through here, so I suppose it makes it a little easier.
Yeah,
maybe.
but
Not necessarily.
but make a good case for it.
Good kiss.
You love Final Fantasy VII.
Made it sound like you're in the toilet there.
I know. I'm not pissing into a cup, everybody. I'm getting another
He's getting have a
margarita.
drink so that he goes have a piss later on.
Well, I've got 1.75 litres of the stuff.
Jeez.
Anyway, whatever.
Should we talk about The Last of Us Part 2 first?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll open with, we don't do a 2-hour special for bad games.
For nothing.
Exactly. We all played it within a week
unless
of
it's
when it
especially
first
bad,
came out.
and then we might have a lot to talk about.
Very
If
true.
something's that terrible.
I mean, The Last of Us Part 1 was about love, and The Last of Us Part 2 was about revenge. I think we could all agree that much.
It's just a masterful piece of art of storytelling, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, a lot. So at the end, it was just painful at that point because you can see it from both sides, Ellie's and Abby's side, as to what's happened to them in their lives to bring them to that point. And you kind of don't want any of them to. You can, well, for me, I either want them both to die or none of them to die.
Oh yeah, brutal.
But yeah, I mean, it's an amazing game. Like, it picks up from a few years after the first game. If anybody played that on the PS3 or the remaster on the PS4, which is amazing, by the way, which might have been on this. Nah, it's not going to be on this list. Last of Us Part 1, because it was a PS3 game initially. Yeah.
I wouldn't put a remaster.
Nah. Anyway, it's just the two sides of the game. Like when you got to the end of Ellie's part, and then you got into Abby's part, and saw everything from her point of view, which is the other side of the coin to Ellie. And you went through her experiences and everything that's happened.
My great admiration for The Last of Us Part 2 it's got to be the ballsiness of it from a design perspective.
Mm.
The fact they did things in that game which they knew were going to cause an absolute furor.
Exactly. When the horse died.
Yeah,
what the hell are they doing?
The horse, it's what a terrible moment that was. Worst moment in the game.
It was.
I get Peter on the call for that one. I think I'll repeat yours kind of sentiments there, Mark. Of just like, how kind of big of a risk they took. And I think Neil knew like kind of.
Yeah.
I think even before like the leaks that kind of came out, I think he'd already kind of gone on record to say like he knew this game would turn away those that like loved the first game or potentially could turn people away from it. Just for like the massive risks they took in the story. I don't know if we can really go into spoilers. I mean, we talked about it on special anyway. But like just like the massive decisions of like, you know, introducing a new character pretty much straight away, not knowing who they were, what were their goals.
Which you play a significant chunk of the game as.
Oh yeah. Even at the
itself.
start, like there's a good, pretty much the whole tutorial of that game is playing the new character, and it's like, who is this? Like, why don't I want to play?
Why should I care? Why should I care about this
I don't know whether we've touched on this before, but would you have thought differently if we'd have played as Abby first, then in the middle of the game, whatever happens, and then you maybe play as Ellie as a revenge story?
I don't think the story or game would work if it did it that way. I think they set it up purposely for you to carry on as Ellie, go on this revenge mission to obviously find Abby who killed Joel, and then
Surrogate dad.
yeah, the surrogate dad. And then, obviously, once you get to the point of Abby holding Ellie at gunpoint and then switching the story around to now you can start playing as Abby and what she's going through.
I mean, at that point, I just didn't care. Like, do you know, because Abby had done so much that angered me when I first started playing as her.
Yeah, but I think that's
the intention.
That's the intention. It's what it is it's setting you up to absolutely hate this person. Like, why have you killed Joel? Absolutely love Joel. I just want to murder you. I just want to kill you. You are Ellie in that first section, and then as you flip it over, you start playing as Abby. You're like, why do I want to play as this B-I-T?
But then you end up completely understanding the reason why she's done what
Then
she's
you see it, but then you can also see from Abby's point of view, she got her revenge, and it's not satisfying as you think it is.
Well, it's not, because it just continues the cycle of violence.
But not just that. She she got revenge, and then, well, now what's her life's goal? Like, throughout her whole journey of trying to find Joel, she's pushed away the one guy that she really loved, and she only had eyes on making her body like a killing machine. Like, once her goal was over, that was it. It's kind of what else she got to live for. and so setting it up where she goes through the story with Lev, yeah. The characters are starting to go for me, unfortunately. But like going through it, Lev, and then her finding kind of like a renewed purpose of being alive and looking after him and his sister. I don't know. It really flipped the switch for me, Abby. Once you got to the end of the story, I just didn't want to. I didn't want to play as Ellie.
Did you not?
No,
like,
she really got kind of toxic for me.
When you were Abby, I just stood there and let Ellie kill me. I was like, that's it, end it now. Come on.
No, I think at that point I was kind of split between the two, because I was like, at that point then I was like, all right, I know what Abby went through, I know what Ellie's going through. It was a nice twist to play as Abby. I thought it was really well done. That like,
did you feel dirty fighting against Ellie?
It just felt strange. Because like, obviously you've gone through the whole game as Ellie. You kind of learned the tricks, little things, what to do and what to look for, going in stealth and stuff. And then when you find her, she's like the AI is doing what you did. So it's like,
yeah,
I've got to like now learn that I'm like fighting myself in a way. Like, how do I kill me or stop me?
Yeah.
Doing the things that I would be doing as Ellie. It was masterfully well done. I really enjoyed it. And then like, obviously the end, I suppose, like
the prologue side.
War scene, yeah. Well, not the prologue. I suppose the epilogue. I just couldn't care for like Ellie's revenge anymore. Like,
I think I'd agree with you. I'm like, I was emotionally done at that point. Like,
yeah,
all the twists and everything.
I think if there's one negative thing that I could throw at The Last of Us Part 2, I do think it went on just a little too long. If they could just shave maybe like maybe an hour or two in that like epilogue.
I'd take the Santa Barbara. Is it Santa Barbara?
Santa Barbara, yeah.
I'd take the entire Santa Barbara bit out.
I don't think I would take it all out, but I felt
I can understand the way it's there.
But it did the whole firefight against like that other survival group.
Yeah,
that meant nothing.
What were they called? What was that group called?
The Rats.
The Rattlers.
Rattlers, that's it.
Yeah.
It's just like it's so late in the game, and now you've introduced this new group,
a new faction.
Yeah, supposed to be in the care about. It's just like,
so we never really knew what they were doing. They were working people into the ground, doing whatever they were doing, and then they left them to die.
Absolutely fooled by Ellie, who's upside down.
It just that bit just felt a bit tacked on to me.
Yeah, it did.
That's
Like,
probably my own.
I think they could have probably ended it at the farmhouse. Like, that was beautiful. It was like Ellie pretty much got everything that she wanted. She got to the point where she probably exercised all her revenge, bar killing Abby, which ate up at her, as we saw in the flashbacks. And I think probably leaving it there would have set it up nicely for a third part. But yeah, it just does. I agree with you, Mark. It does seem very tacked on, and like, why did they do it? Like, because that was an extra 3/4 of an hour of the game at that point. I mean, maybe it was for shock value at the very end when we know what happens. And
yeah,
I mean, that was a beautiful moment itself. When Ellie eventually gets back to the house, she tries to play the guitar and she can't, and she's got her whole life there, and then she walks away and pretty much leaving everything behind and moving on to the next step of her life.
Don't know if I'd call that beautiful. It's very depressing. But I think that's what they wanted to show, though. Like, I don't necessarily say that the last bit was tacked on, but that like they needed to essentially wrap up Ellie's story to the point that what they want to say is, you know, if you still keep on going after revenge, even when if you've got everything that you want, you know, you will eventually lose everything, you know. Which I mean, she did towards the end. She lost, you know, Diana. She lost D, was it?
Dina.
Is that? Oh, Dina. Sorry. Not
She
doing good with
lost
names, am
her
I?
fingers. She lost Dina.
She lost a
Joel's
finger.
already gone. The community might not be there for her when she gets back.
What was the baby called? I forgot.
Potato.
JJ.
JJ, yeah.
JJ,
Yeah.
Yeah, she lost everything. And I think even for a way, actually, I partly blame Joel's brother
For coming
for
back.
that one.
Tommy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Tommy. I think
Because
he like twisted like the little knife of like to Ellie of like
You
you
really
didn't
want this
really
revenge,
get
yeah.
your revenge. You're not going to be satisfied until you get it.
It's 'cause
I think that
he
was
living
Tommy's
vicariously
anger,
from
though.
it. Yeah, he was living
Well, no, it was
vicariously
a
from it,
byproduct of
because he was injured, wasn't
yeah.
he? But anyway, I have to cut this short because there is
Yeah,
another game in this matchup.
Is there?
Yeah.
I don't recall.
Right, Matt, do you want to talk to us about Final Fantasy VII, the remake?
Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 1. I don't really know what to say about this game. It's I mean, if we start off with, I initially weren't gonna get it at the start of the year because obviously it was coming out pretty close to The Last of Us Part 2, and I was just gonna wait on maybe reviews, maybe wait a little while. But then I remember watching a Twitch streamer that I follow kind of play it, and he's just like the biggest Final Fantasy 7 fan going, like, and just watching him play it and just not even just like any gameplay, any of the story, any like graphical anything, just probably purely on music alone. I don't know. It's got some of the most like emotional music that I've heard in gaming.
Austin loves it as well.
Yeah, got a little Austin. Got a little guest on the show. Yeah, just purely on like the emotions that I felt by listening to that music. Just I don't know, just shoved me to like, yep, no, you gotta go buy it now. And I mean, it's a brilliant remake. I mean, it's a split opinion on the end of it because how it ends isn't really how that part of Final Fantasy VII ends.
Do you think they've orchestrated it as a thing to get you to buy the next part of it?
Potentially. So, like, originally that part of the original Final Fantasy VII is about an hour, maybe an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours at push for what you actually do. But they managed to just like expand that entirely to like a 35+ hour game, just because they've had so much just at that part of the original Final Fantasy VII.
Okay.
So it starts off like the original Final Fantasy VII does. You've got a eco-terrorist group Avalanche coming into a train station along with Cloud, who you play for most of the game. And how it would kick off in this game is for most part kind of the same beat for beat. The controls, or the gameplay should I say, for when you fight is really nice. It's real time, but you can also kind of play it like it's not quite like a turn-based game, but you get a gauge that goes up in parts, and you can use that to either sort of freeze time into like a turn-based menu, so you can like select which actions you want to do. If you want to use magic, if you want to use items, if you want to use your special weapon or not. And you can play it that way, or you can play it very freestyle, in that you can map certain actions to like a control and a button, so you can do it like on the go. So it's very like, it gives you like the choice of like, do you want to play it like a normal RPG, or do you feel like it's a bit Devil May Cry-ish? And so you kind of go on there, and the story starts taking a turn a little bit when like certain things don't quite happen the way they did. But they've got these, like, I suppose, I forgot what they've called them in the game. They're like spirits that try to force the story into how it was in the original. So certain moments that happen because they happened in the original. But there's some other like outside force that's trying to change, essentially, like, I suppose, the future. And you don't quite know why through the story. You kind of go through it beat for beat, same as the original. But they've just added so much more to it. Like, graphically, it's a beautiful looking game, minus some, should we say, some skybox issues that they have.
What level would you put it at in terms of graphics? Would you say like Horizon Zero Dawn levels, or a bit lower?
Yeah, I don't think it's quite Horizon or God of War from what I've seen. Maybe about Spider-Man levels.
Okay.
Like it's an absolute massive game. For how small of like the area you think you're playing is. But they've just padded it a lot with like side missions that aren't repetitive either, and have more of like a purpose to the story as well.
Yeah.
Which is well done. And some of the boss fights are quite creative as well. Like you really can't go in kind of just throwing your sword around and kind of hoping for the best. Like you really got to kind of think of like, right, for the most part, you'll always kind of control 3 characters, but you'll control one at a time, like in your party. But you can switch in between different characters, and a lot of it's like you could set up a combo with one character and then switch to another who goes into continuing that combo. And it's quite challenging. I want to say it's like Bloodborne challenging, but
yeah,
like,
but it's like a medium between general games and okay, cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and then just like some of the cutscenes as well, like just I don't know, just really, really well done for a story. Like I was absolutely gripped at story right until the end, and like for someone who never completed like the original Final Fantasy VII, just because it's like an 100-hour plus game. I still kind of understood where the story was going. Like, I feel like for someone like you, Nathan, you're fairly a novice to kind of Final Fantasy anything.
Yeah.
So I think story-wise, I don't know whether you'd be able to follow it straightforward, because there's certain things in the story that like I
You've
said,
got
you got
to
these.
know.
Yeah, like it's definitely a story for Final Fantasy VII people. And there was like I mentioned, the kind of story, there was a bit of a controversy about how the story ended, where was it going, why is this character alive when he died, you know, in the other game, why is this character doing the things he did when he didn't even show up at this point in the game, you know.
I mean, I guess that might make it worth it for players that have played the old one, and maybe new ones as well, because it's kind of splintered off from the first one.
Yeah, it could be actually. Yeah, like for new people, I think the story might actually maybe be a little bit straightforward. It does get a little convoluted towards the end, but it wouldn't be. I suppose it wouldn't be a Final Fantasy game without some sort of convolution. But I absolutely loved it. And then like even once the game's finished, like there's still stuff to do. There's challenge modes where you have to like fight against like the strongest summon in the game. And if you beat him, you know, you get to unlock him in the next game. Well, not in the next game, sorry. In like, you can do a new game plus where you start off with where your stats are. But like, enemies are like leveled up to like kind of your level. So it continues to still be a challenge going on. And yeah, just like, I think if I touch on a little music a little bit more as well, I've not heard of many games kind of go from one music track where you're just kind of walking normally along. As soon as you go into a battle, like the track immediately right on that kind of same beat goes into like a battle version of it itself.
Oh yeah.
And it just carries on where that track was going. It just, you know, you just got
and then just mixes it in so well into the battle.
Yeah, like it's just seamless, and it immediately like pumps you up for the battle. Like, oh yeah, this is like brilliant. And then like once the fight's over, it goes back to its normal track, but it's still carried on from kind of like where it sort of was.
Yeah. It kind of matches the beat, so it just flows really well in between battle and exploration.
Yeah, it handles it so well. And I think as well for characters, I think all of them are much better kind of realized than the original. The original Final Fantasy VII parts, or at least at that part within the story. I absolutely loved the game. It's definitely one of my favorite games this year. I can't believe it came out this year.
Right, but still, what would you say?
Decision.
Do you want to start us off? The Last of Us Part 2 or Final Fantasy VII Remake?
I think as much as I love Final Fantasy VII, nothing within its story can really touch what Last of Us Part 2 did for me, I think. So I think purely just on the story, I've got to go Last of Us Part 2.
Yeah, I'd echo that. The Last of Us Part 2 for me.
I don't care about Final Fantasy, so yeah, I
Yeah,
have to say
unanimous.
Last of Us Part 2, I'm afraid.
Right, that moves through.
You let me down, Mark.
Apologies. So, matchup 5. We have Killzone Shadowfall against Horizon Zero Dawn.
Ooh, putting together both of them.
This
is interesting. It's Guerrilla versus Guerrilla.
I say, just like
guerrilla warfare, some may say.
Yes.
Well, I've only played Horizon Zero Dawn, so I'm going to go with that.
Or make a decision where
yeah, that's it.
Games.
Boom, down on.
Just go straight in.
Slapping it down there. But it's Horizon Zero Dawn is. It might be the most beautiful game on the PlayStation in terms of its graphics.
It is a looker.
It's amazing.
I'll give it that.
Like the premise to it as well. Like the technology you've got is kind of like
primitive
Bronze Age, but you're fighting against creatures that are year 3000. Sorry, McFly. Was it McFly? Anyway, whatever. And it's just really. Is it busted?
It was busted. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Thanks for clearing that up.
I'm too old for this.
Used to play that at school.
Oh, that was my childhood, all right.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, it's just just a mix of those two aspects of like the futuristic and the primitive side that makes it quite interesting, and the story that goes along with it. So the main character that you play as, quite early on, the surrogate dad dies. That's quite heartbreaking.
Thanks for that. I've not played it.
Don't worry. When you get 3/4 of an hour in, you'll be there. And then it's basically just going around the wilderness fighting these mechanical dinosaurs. Not the Megazords from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, but yeah, that would be amazing. Anyway,
like final boss, just like
that's
morphing
it.
into each
The
other.
Megazord. But yeah, I think the story, along with just the world of it, just like traversing the world, because it's such a beautiful world as well. Because you're going through like forests, open expanses of like desert, go from like city to city. The people that you meet there, it's just such a fantastic game. I mean, myself, I'm only about 3 or 4 hours in so far, but it's just an amazing game. Honestly, I don't think anything tops it in terms of how graphically fantastic it is, and I just love everything about it. Like the combat's amazing. Like when you've got a creature charging at you, and within a split second you manage to get away from it, and then use your arrow to like get it in the hit spot, and it just explodes. It's just absolutely fantastic. There's just no feeling like it. It's just an absolutely amazing game, and I'd implore anybody to play it. I mean, it's for me, it's on the same levels as The Last of Us Part 2 and God of War.
Wow, that's very big praise indeed. I think I'd probably repeat quite a lot of what you said of Horizon Zero Dawn. Like I'm probably about 8 to 10 hours in, so I'm a little bit kind of further ahead in the story in that. But it's just kind of like a joy to play. Like Aloy moves really fluid. She's really nice to handle. Don't tell that context.
I knew it. As soon as you said that, I was looking at Nathan.
Yeah. Well, that's why I gave the 1. Movement, man, not anything else. Combat's really nice as well. Being able to like convert kind of other kind of smaller dinosaurs at the start to help you out in other fights, or be able to like ride them and go around. Yeah, like all the environment as well is beautiful. Like I love the snow environment. I've not played like the DLC for it. The Frozen Wilds, I think it's called. But
yeah,
like I love how the snow kind of just moves away from you as you walk through it, and just like the different locations as well. It's not just snow. Like I said, there's desert. There's like lots of lakes and grassy areas. That's really good.
A lot of woodland and places like that. Yeah,
and it's a good challenge as well. It's not difficult, but like if you're a bit under level and you come across like a saber-toothed one, they can pose a pretty good threat.
I think it's all about using the right weapons as well. It's just knowing the right weapons to use against the right creatures in order to take them down that bit easier.
I think that's something I probably should do a little bit more of, because like really a lot of it's just me just kind of using like my bow and arrow, and maybe I'll use like a fire arrow here and there, or maybe like an electric one. But there's so many like different weapons that you can use, and like different strategies you can come across, like laying down explosive traps, or like having a slingshot to make certain enemies put to sleep or something like that. But then just like having I suppose like the combat staff as well, that can be quite nice to use as well, just to take down some small stuff as well. So it's just a joy to play Horizon Zero Dawn. I absolutely love it.
I've got a confession to make.
Ooh, there we go.
When I remember seeing the trailer, the very first reveal of Horizon Zero Dawn, a long time ago. But it was just like Aloy, like hiding around in some bushes, and then suddenly this mechanical dinosaur thing came and she took it down. I have to say, I didn't think it looks very interesting. I wasn't so bad with balance, but
I was immediately hooked from the first trailer.
I didn't like the look of it. But I've got the game, not played it. But that's purely because they're based off, everyone says it's amazing. But I think that's why I put it off for so long. Because
didn't believe the
personally,
hype.
You didn't want to
to me,
believe
it just didn't. Yeah, to me, it just didn't look that good. But as I say, that was when I saw the trailer for the very first time. Because I saw it when it was first revealed. I just said, that just looks a bit pants to me.
Yeah.
I
think the game's got a very good mix between like stealth and combat. I hide in the grass to sneak up to something to like kind of scan it and learn its hit points and use the right weapons and stuff. And not to mention like the dialogue and the like RPG elements to it as well, and how you try and control Aloy and what she wants, and it's what you want really, but kind of through her, which is good.
So should we talk about Killzone then? Have either of you played Killzone?
I've not, no.
Yeah. One of my first games I played on when I got my PS4.
Yeah, because it was
a launch title, wasn't it? Yeah. Launch title.
Yeah, because I think it came with mine. Yeah.
I don't think mine did.
I'm sure I've got it on the. I'm sure it's on the box. Unless I'm confusing it with the Killzone 2 for PS3. Can't remember. Maybe.
What do you think of Killzone then, Mark?
Well, it's sort of like PS4's like premier first-person shooter, isn't it? It's all right, I think, but I don't think this was the best one. I think two were better. But this was the early days of the PS4. It was kind of like it was one of like their marquee games to launch, wasn't it? It's a bit. It's basically PS4's Halo, isn't it?
Well, that's what they wanted to build the franchise with the first one, wasn't it? It was gonna be the Halo killer.
Yeah. It doesn't quite live up to it, does it?
No,
I don't think this one was that great. I like the enemy. I like the Hellcast. I think they're great. And if there was another one, I think it could go. I think it could certainly improve on it. But the thing is, they're on to Horizon now, aren't they? So.
Yeah. Well, I think they've got a big enough team now to be able to split into different projects. So if they wanted to do a new Killzone,
I do think PS4 needs to come with PlayStation needs to come up with like another standout first-person shooter, because I do feel like that's something they're lacking at the moment. They have a lot of these like
sad topic,
like first-person narrative games, but they don't really go into the shooter territory.
What happened to the team that did the Resistance style of games? Because that was like
I enjoyed the Resistance games, because I played the first three. Well, the three that came out on the PS3, and I also played the PSP and the Vita Resistance games. I love the Resistance franchise, and I like the story behind it as well.
They seem to have stopped after the third one, though. I don't know what.
Yeah, that's it. There's been nothing.
Was it Studio Liverpool that did them? I could be wrong. Because I know the first game had a bit of controversy, didn't it? Having like a church from Liverpool in the game or something like that. They didn't have rights to
the UK. Yeah, that's right.
But get back on topic, seeing as we're talking about another franchise. that might.
No, it's all about Resistance now.
Yeah,
I'm joking.
That might potentially call what the result might be. We'll see. But I thought it was my first Killzone that I played. I didn't really have a PS3 until very, very late, and then it only became like an Uncharted machine. So,
go on.
Oh, I was gonna go on to like say that I thought it was solid enough. I thought gunplay was good. I thought the gimmicks that were in there were handled well, or implemented well, I should say. But like the story, it was just a bit kind of there. It was like I didn't really.
Yeah, I can't remember the stuff.
Yeah, I
know
I
the
remember I think
Helghast
Troy
invaded a
Baker was
city
the
or
voice in
something.
it, but that was about it.
In
I think it was.
I don't know. I think it was a good showcase for the early days of the PS4.
Yeah, I think it was a good. This is where the future of PS4 is kind of going. Graphically, obviously, it was better than anything the PS3 had. Maybe that's but
basically, I'd say it was a solid game, but not memorable.
yeah, I think I'd agree with that.
It was
I did some of the multiplayer as well. That was alright, but again, it was just like it doesn't really touch Call of Duty or Halo. So
yeah, it's like the token shooter game for PlayStation in the release.
Well, I think if they carried on with it, I think they could have done more. But obviously, they moved on to a different IP, didn't they? So.
Yeah.
I think they moved on to bigger and better things. So.
Well, we know where you're going, Matt.
Maybe my choice might be obvious. Don't know. Well, we can start with me. Between both of them, I've got to go Horizon Zero Dawn.
What do you reckon, Mark?
I'm going to go for Killzone.
No, I mean, I'm not exactly giving a glowing appraisal of Killzone.
Yeah, you're not making me want to buy it,
it's
Mark.
Good.
Neither of you are. But
it's good, but as I say, it's nothing.
I'll put Battlefield.
It's nothing to write home about. So I'm going to go Horizon Zero Dawn purely because, based on what other people have said about it, I mean, it would be very difficult to go against it in this matchup.
Yeah. I think it was a tough one, but it's a good projection to see where Guerrilla's kind of come from, where they're going in the future, hopefully.
So I'm guessing you've gone for Horizon as well, Matt. Nath. There you go. So Guerrilla Warfare is run by Horizon Zero Dawn. Right, final matchup in the first round. Infamous Second Son against Uncharted 4, A Thieves End.
Oh.
Right.
I'm
going to start this off. I'm going to talk about Infamous Second Son. This was the first game that I got on my PS4.
Oh, that's what came with my PS4. Ah, yes. It wasn't Killzone.
You got the Infamous Second Son pack as well. Oh,
another dig into Killzone.
Yes, brother.
It was Killzone PS3. That's why.
Right. Yeah, I got Infamous Second Son with my PS4. It was the first PS4 game that I ever got. I 100%ed it. Did not platinum it. I don't know how that works, but hey ho. I just enjoyed it so much. I enjoyed playing as the main character. I went down the bad route, bad to the bone, and my ungrateful family got what were coming to him near end. I also really enjoyed the DLC as well, not the DLC, but the extended bit as well, Joe, with the origami.
Oh, the origami killer.
Yeah, I thought that was quite interesting.
What was that, sir?
That's a different game, Matt. The Origami Killer. That's Heavy Rain.
Oh, that's Heavy Rain. What was it? The Origami...
Paper Trail.
The Paper Trail, yeah. Where you had to go online to activate it, and then you had puzzles and stuff. I thought that was really...
Yeah, I did that. That was really good.
Yeah. But yeah, I can remember streaming my PS4 to my PS Vita while I was on the toilet, and I'm like, this is the future. This is great.
This is the future.
Yeah, that's it. That was just like me, 2012, 2013. You don't want to see that.
You're right, I don't.
But yeah, I love it so much because it just gives you the option to be good or evil. And yeah, as I said,
you always go
bad to the bone.
Badman.
What I will give for that is that was a perfect showcase of the DualShock 4.
Definitely, yeah. It used it so well, like shaking the.
That's the best method.
That is such a good way of.
That is the best.
Using the DualShock.
Yeah, shaking the DualShock.
We didn't need a demonstration, or at least have the DualShock in hand if you can do it.
That is the best use of the
with me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely
That was
shaking
so
the
good.
spray paint and then
And the fact
spraying it.
that the sound came out of the
Mm.
speaker on the pad itself.
Yeah, that's it. It was just
So-
such a good showcase for that controller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? No other game has used the full capabilities of the DualShock more than what Infamous Second Son has ever did. Like I don't like. You get your fancy, your lights on GTA. If
I
you
was
want.
just about to say that. Yeah.
The police are
Um,
chasing you, blue and red. Woo.
Yeah, and then like some games will use like the speaker function if your character's like on a phone call or something. That's pretty cool. I kind of like that. But just like I don't know, just being able to just turn the control sideways and use it as like a spray can. It's just like genius. Like why has no one ever thought of like doing this since? Like no one. It's so disappointing because like DualShock had a lot of like capabilities of like the gimmicks that you could use within game, but just like no one really explored as much as what.
I'd argue that Erica used it more than any other game.
Which one?
Erica.
Well, did you say that? Did you say that was due to just the touchpad though?
Yeah, it used just the touchpad, pretty much
Well,
for the
that's
entire
not
game.
utilizing the whole pad though, is it?
I mean, like using the speaker, having it sideways and then having the rumble as well.
Yeah, true. That was ingenious. That bit. Yeah.
That's just so good. It was just so nice as well. It was really accurate.
It just felt good to use.
Yeah.
Which is quite surprising because when you look at it, you think to hold that sideways, it looks like it'll be awful to hold. It feels good actually. Triggers in the right place.
Yeah, I mean, I think
apart from the pad.
Yeah, I think traversing the map was really cool as well because you could like slide against like telephone poles and stuff to get to where you wanted to be. You could jump down from them and absolutely decimate gangs of people. The power's really fun to use. And then you also had your love interest that you play in the extended game, First Light. That was also pretty fun.
First Light.
Yeah, I mean, it's just I enjoyed playing as that protagonist or antagonist, depending on how you decide to go. And yeah, it was just a really good game. I think it's just a really solid game for a launch lineup. It's just great. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was the first game that I platinumed on PS4 as well. Just a fun time, fun little game.
Teach me.
Will do. Yeah, sure. Just like I'll teach Mark how to platinum Spider-Man.
I still don't know what I've not done,
Anyway.
Yeah, shall we move on to Uncharted 4 then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a good fun romp, isn't it? Globetrotting.
It's just Uncharted, isn't it? It's solid gameplay. Gunplay is good.
That's the thing. It's took the other three, and then going to PS4. It's just like gone all out, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's just like dialed up to like 11, isn't it? Pretty much.
Like if this is indeed the last Uncharted, then it's like
what way to go?
What a send off! Yeah.
I've not played any of the Uncharted games.
Have you not?
None of them. No, never. No,
I think you're missing out.
That's a real surprise.
Right. Can you explain to me why I should play it?
I think you'd love it personally. I think you'd love Nathan Drake. He's like a sense of humour.
He's got a great first name, I've got to admit.
Well, no, that's the worst part about him.
Yeah, it's the best part. Well, that's why you should play it. You get to play as yourself.
It's just really fun. It's an action adventure. It's basically Indiana Jones in video game
form. Yeah. Think like the classic Tomb Raiders, but like just really built upon. Like gameplay is very solid. Even like in the original, I think it's really good. Gunplay, I think in the original is probably a tad bit outdated, but it's still good. Cover shooter, which was really built upon for the fourth one as well. It's just fun characters and a fun story. You don't have to take anything serious. I think it's some of Nolan North's best work in Uncharted.
Something the Uncharted games do really well is the action set pieces.
Yeah.
There's some excellent pieces in.
Just think of like the best
game.
action pieces in like Indiana Jones, Star Wars, James Bond, like chase sequences as well. Some really really nice nice to play sequences. It's just got it's got like that cinematic feel to it as well. You feel like you're playing a movie and not a game.
An action.
It's just a fun ride. Like I don't think many action games do action as well as what the Uncharted series does. And same for the fourth one as well. Like I think they just build upon it with you got your little I suppose open world-esque kind of levels as well. I think the swing rope mechanics they introduced in the fourth was really well done as well. Added a lot of like a new dimension to the gameplay. And again, just fun characters.
Yeah, it sort of introduced the thing that ended up going in Last of Us Part 2. It's just like an open linear world.
Mm.
So you could you were always going in one direction, but you could slightly go.
You could go a bit of a wry and try and explore a bit.
There's point A and there's point B, but now in between you've got a bit of variety to like how you get to point B. Like previous games was very kind of just straightforward. This is kind of where you go, sort of thing. But yeah, it's just I love the characters. I love Nolan North. Plus, I mean, you get to play Crash Bandicoot in Uncharted 4 as well. The original.
Do
you? Yeah.
Oh wow!
It's a fun little nod that Naughty Dog added, where I think it's Nathan that plays. Is it, or is it Sally?
Well,
that's not Sally. That's Sully. Both of them. No, they did, didn't they?
Yeah, they both did.
Yeah. But it's a nice little nod. It's quite fun.
The thing is, whenever anyone mentions Uncharted 4 now, my instant thought goes to that PlayStation demo. Do you remember that? Did you see it when they did the PlayStation demo on stage? And it wasn't working. So Nathan Drake was just stood there, and the guy, because they were playing it on stage.
Oh yeah.
Showcasing it, and for some reason the tech demo just went completely wrong. And
so
Nathan Drake was just like stood still, like on screen, so they had to fade to black, and then they had to restart the demo, and then he was able to start playing it. But they actually added that as a trophy in the actual game when it released. So when you come to that point in the game, if you just purposely stand there at that point for about 30 seconds, it then gives you a trophy called stage fright.
Oh no! Which I thought was
the lovely bit. Yeah. I think it's the level where I think they just come to a market. Or something.
Yeah.
Look it up, you'll find it. But yeah, I just
it's fun.
Shall we make a decision?
Yeah.
A tough one, this, I think.
Very tough.
I mean, to be honest, I think you both won me over because I love Naughty Dog as a developer. They've made the first game that I ever played in Crash Bandicoot. They've made The Last of Us, and they made Uncharted, obviously. Some amazing games. I'm going to go with Uncharted 4.
Wow. Never played it, but he's been swung over. Fair enough.
Just your enthusiasm, both of you, have just won it for me.
So we're going to go for Infamous.
Yeah, swing it the other way.
I think I'd probably lean towards Uncharted myself. It's just really good fun. Well, let's say that Infamous is really good fun.
Mm.
It's a tough one. It's a close one for me.
Yeah, it's a close one. It's a real close one. Yeah, I think for like pretty much a decade-old story that still didn't get old, to be able to still introduce new stuff like Nathan's brother as well. It was a really good character in it as well.
I thought you were talking about mine for a second. Then I'm like,
Yeah.
I've got a brother.
Nathan's brother. Brother from another mother.
That was Troy Baker, wasn't it?
That was Troy
That's
Baker as
funny.
well. Yeah, he was in it. Surprised Laura Bailey wasn't actually in it. Or maybe she was.
Might have rocked
I
up
don't-
at some point. I don't know.
She probably wrote up at some point. Actually, I think she might have been. I think she plays the one that's in the spin-off, Lost Legacy. The Asian, is it the Asian chick? I could be wrong.
I honestly don't know.
I'm not sure. I think she might do, but
Anyway.
yeah, I think for just how much is built upon the previous 3 games and an end of like a very beautiful story. To be fair, it was a really well told story. I think I'll go for Uncharted as well.
Okay, so that's the first round over. Let's move into the second
That
round.
was a long one.
Yeah. Right. Second round, matchup 1. Marvel Spider-Man against Until Dawn.
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
Yep. Spider-Man.
That's
Fuck Until Dawn. It's all about Spider-Man.
Okay. I've not played Until Dawn, unfortunately. You know, I have, like I said, I did watch Let's Play, and it looks fun to play, but I have to go with my biases.
I think there's too much about Spider-Man. That's just
There's too much good about
Until
Spider-Man.
Dawn is good, but which one would I play again? Marvel Spider-Man. It's just Spider-Man. Well, that was an easy one.
Right, Spider-Man moves through. Boom.
That's a quick throw.
Okay. Matchup 2 of the second round. God of War against The Last of Us Part 2.
My heart.
This
is awful. Might cry.
God of War is really taking me on a journey this evening.
Right, I'm already throwing my choice in because it is the only one that I played. I've got to pick The Last of Us Part 2.
It's between me and you then, Mark.
Mm.
I mean, the stories of both of them are so different. That's the issue. One's like a coming of age story, and the other one's just a revenge story, in my eyes.
One's more fun than the other. If you're going to go on pure gameplay.
Yeah.
It's a bit subjective, but
No, I don't think so.
do you not like murdering dogs?
Fuck, just a minute. Just a minute. I felt sick when I did that.
You what? You all right?
And it's got a big snake.
I'm looking
What's
at
he
it.
doing? Because I can't see his
Big
camera.
snake.
Big snake. That big snake's amazing. Best
I don't
character
want
in
to.
the game.
I can't see Nathan's cam. So
Oh,
Fine.
fair enough.
Can you not?
no, I've got it set. So I see like one camera at a time. It's normally like
Right.
whoever's
Right now, I'm
talking
looking at them both at once to
All right,
try
now I
and
see it.
find my inner emotions.
your inner emotions. Okay.
This, as I've got to say, I think I've got to go for The Last of Us. And this tears my
Nathan out of
heart.
his misery.
Tears my heart.
Do you know what? Oh, I'm just
Rip him
seeing
up.
boy's face. Oh
Tear him
no.
to pieces.
It's the snake's face that did it for me.
Snake's face.
I think I've got to go for The Last of Us Part 2. It invokes more emotion for me. It takes you on more of a ride and more of an emotional ride.
We're sorry, boy.
In terms of God of War, it just starts like down here and it just keeps going up. But for The Last of Us Part 2, it just fluctuates that much. Exactly.
Takes you on a ride.
I think it just edges it painfully so. Yeah, I think The Last of Us Part 2.
Okay. So, third match in the second round. Horizon Zero Dawn against Uncharted 4. Tuesday.
Another tough one.
I mean, for me, I'm just going to say no. I'm going to say, Horizon Zero Dawn. because
there's
that's
gonna
the
be a
only one
change
that
there.
I've played.
I'm going to say Uncharted. This is the only one I've played.
Go on, Matt.
Damn you both.
Tell us.
Because as I say, I have to say when I first saw Horizon, it didn't interest me.
You played them both,
When I,
Matt. So
when I,
it'll be a
when I
good,
start playing it, I
Shut
might
up.
completely change my mind.
good
But,
decider.
I like to go with it.
They're both fantastic games. Well, as far as I know.
No, they are. They're both wonderful games.
That's why it's so difficult when you get to this stage. It's that
This is
we've
it.
weeded the ones out that might not be as worthy as others. And yeah, it's just
Well,
difficult.
this is where you kind of like nitpicking. So it's kind of like, I would probably say artistically, Horizon is a more better looking game than Uncharted. But I would then say graphically, I just think Uncharted just looks nicer. That probably didn't make sense. Like, I was kind of like, there's so much more color to Horizon. That I'd love if like that engine was used for like a next Zelda game or something. It'd be absolutely perfect. But like, but then the story, I think Uncharted's got a best story.
Well, while you think, I'll interject. To Ghost of
Right.
Tsushima. There we go.
Fell there first.
Okay. Lost but not forgotten. Characters as well. Better Uncharted. But then gameplay. Oh, this isn't fun.
Good.
This is not fun. Oh, I don't know. Oh, this is really difficult. I need like both of you to try and sway me one or the other.
It's up to you, to be honest. But I think, just to interject, this is just testament to how good the games are on PlayStation. It's just difficult to split some of
Oh
them.
no, yeah.
And the amount that we've picked, that we've played, that we've enjoyed, it's just fantastic.
I mean, what a generation for PlayStation 4 to have like this many high quality exclusive games as well. Like, not to try and like kind of crap on Xbox. That's kind of like the one area they've really like kind of let themselves down in this generation. Last generation.
Stop delaying, Mathew.
Yeah, I know. I need like a coin or something. No.
Come on, you know which one you want to go with.
I think purely because of how much joy that I got from the characters and the history they has, I've got to go for Uncharted 4.
Sexist.
Whoa. I have to say I'm surprised.
This is the thing. I've not completed Horizon Zero Dawn, so I really don't know where its story goes. Like, I'm enjoying the story so far, but for how much it plays on its own story, Uncharted, like, and still kind of improve on it, and still make me care about those characters like 10 years later.
Is it
It's
just
still-
the legasy of the franchise that
I
pushes
think it
it
is.
over
I
the
think
edge?
this has become like
It's
the
like the culmination
Halo
of things, isn't it? Yeah.
Halo Master Chief Collection, like the nostalgia, and like how much it still builds on it, and still improve and add new characters that add so much like lore to the.
You've built up
Stories.
an affinity with those characters, haven't you? Throughout those stories. That's the thing.
Well, but that's it, isn't it?
So ahead
You
of
know,
the ball.
I feel like it's an unfair slight on Horizon Zero Dawn because it is a new IP. So obviously the characters are new. Need to get
It'd
built.
be interesting having this conversation in 5 years' time when each franchise has realised a bit more, maybe. In terms of everything that we've spoken about.
Sounds like that's.
Well, you never know. You never know.
Well, there is the film. I mean, gonna see sexy Tom
Spider-Man.
Holland.
Spider-Man is Nathan Drake.
Well, I mean, it makes for an interesting final.
Nathan Drake is Spider-Man.
Yeah, this is it.
Nathan, man. Anyway, yeah. Uncharted 4 moves on
It's
then.
not like Spider Nathan. It's go Nathan. Yeah, I'm putting Uncharted 4 through. Sorry. Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah. Okay. The final. The three-way final. So,
It's okay if it's a three-way.
Oh god.
So it's Marvel Spider-Man versus The Last of Us Part 2 versus Uncharted 4: A Thief's End.
How are we going to do this? Are we going to knock one out first and then have a head-to-head?
I thought we just base
Well,
it on.
if you wanted to do, well, I personally was just going to pick one, but if you want to do that, it's up to you.
Because if I was going to kick one out, I'd say Uncharted.
If you want to do it that way, out of those three,
I don't
would
mind.
say
I'm
Uncharted
just,
my weakest.
No, but would you
my
agree? Would you
opinion in
agree
there.
with it? Would you agree with that?
Would you say Uncharted finishes third underneath Spider-Man and The Last of Us Part 2?
Yes. Yeah, I think I agree with it.
What do you think, Mark?
I mean, if you don't agree, we
Yeah,
can still fight.
Yeah, I probably would have as well.
You agree with that?
Okay. Right then.
So we're down to two. So we're
Yeah.
down to Marvel
Spider-Man versus The Last of Us Part 2.
Sorry, Uncharted, you didn't really get it. I feel like a fair fight. We're just going to free you out of it. Right, we've got three finalists. Wait, no, you get out.
Well, when you get to this kind of level, there's got to be losers. So this is it, the most painful task of all.
Spider-verse
Spider-Man
infected
versus The Last of Us Part 2.
Well, it's. I think it's a clear winner. I have to say.
For me, I
Wow.
think it's The Last of Us Part 2.
So do I. I don't, to be quite honest, as great as
Jesus
Marvel
Christ.
Spider-Man is, the sense of gameplay, audio, design, level,
Accessibility.
story, the cast, everything, I just think weighs more heavily onto The Last of Us than it does Spider-Man, which is great fun. I can't deny that. It is a stupendously fun game. But I just think when you look at all the combination of different things as what makes a game great, I think you'd be hard pressed to go against The Last of Us in this. It does so many things right.
Yeah, I'd agree. I mean, I think I said this in the special that we did on The Last of Us Part 2, but it might not be the game that everybody wanted, but it was a fantastic game nevertheless. I don't think anybody can argue that.
You're very well
If,
put your case from Spider-Man. I mean, clearly you're very conflicted about this. More than we are.
Well, I mean, you know, I suppose my bias is that I was like Spider-Man is like, you know, my favorite superhero out of all of them.
Is it because it's like your favorite superhero? It's kind of like they managed to perfectly encapsulate everything that's so brilliant about it.
I feel so. I feel like I feel like everything from, you know, like I feel like, you know, the voice was perfect. I think Yuri, I'm not sure what his last name is. It's a little bit difficult, I think, but like I think he encapsulated that like perfect. You know, he's an experienced Peter Parker. You know, he's not starting from scratch. He's not a young kid.
That is one great thing about the game is that it's not yet another origin story of a superhero.
No, yeah. I think that was something that they nailed quite well. Is it like he's not quite fully experienced, but it's not, you know, it's not the origin of him. You know, he's been in it, you know, a few years. You know, he's got a bit of a rogues galley going on. You know, he's not found everyone yet, but you know,
yeah. So you can follow him along with enough growth for it to feel like you're growing with the character.
Yeah. I think all the you know, the side characters were handled well as well, being able to introduce Miles and
I thought that was a really good segue into Miles to get him ready and for the next game. And I really loved the end of it. The little exchange between Peter and Miles at the very end of the game. Just fantastic.
Well, that was good as well, you know. And I mean, I feel like maybe not the game on its own, but like I think the game has helped with the media for people to like really embrace Miles as, you know, another Spider-Man and not just someone who's like always in Peter's shadow. You know, like everyone throws their arms up in the air, like, oh, Peter's my Spider-Man, and whatever rubbish they want to talk about.
I think the multiverse film really helped with that as well, because I really enjoyed
I think that coming out as well has kind of helped it massively. Like that's a beautiful film, absolutely one of my favorites. But you know, graphically, it's a really nice game to look at. Gameplay wise, it's absolutely fun. I think if I was to throw a nitpick at Spider-Man, some of the stealth aspects of it when you are playing as Miles and when you are playing as MJ, I don't think is quite handled as well as like something like, you know, stealth in The Last of Us Part 2. But anyway, it wasn't a massive. It wasn't, you know, the crux of the game in essence. Yeah. It was only like for a small, tiny bit, and then now you get to be, you know, go back to be a Spider-Man.
Yeah, I mean, for me, to be honest, it did get annoying at parts, but it was a nice change of pace from like mowing through enemies, and it just gave that something a little bit different. And like the little bits of Mary Jane dialogue here and there just made you a bit more attached to her if you'd not known what she was all about before.
Yeah, I liked that in this game they treat MJ like a proper character. like, you know, she was a
not just the love interest,
investigator. She's not this like dipsy redhead who's just going for like a modeling career like she was early on in the comics. And she was a bit more. Well, she was a bit more like Gwen Stacy in the Amazing films, who was obviously one of the better parts of those series.
Yeah.
Less talked about series, the better. But I feel like if I could try and throw my biasism away, if I try to look at both games objectively, what they did good, what they didn't do so good, their impacts. In the industry as a whole. I think I have to kind of give The Last of Us as a clear winner. Unfortunately, as much as I don't want to admit that, I think it expanded on the original tenfold. The story, as explained it is for like, you know, most of the fan base, I thought it was handled professionally.
Yeah, I think after what happened with Joel, I think the way that Ellie went through the house was handled so tastefully. Looking at every single bit of Joel's attire, like the watch and the gun, the jacket, and all that kind of stuff, and what Joel did in his spare time. I just think that was absolutely beautiful. And just the way that the game flowed and the emotions that it invokes. Yeah,
if I could try and sum like one kind of statement up for The Last of Us Part 2, is that it really challenges the kind of the broadly accepted view of what a video game should do, or should be, should I say. Like, I think emotionally it'll wreck you and it will kind of punch you and make you hate, but by the end of it, it's, I don't know, like,
I think it's about just understanding. At the end.
It's just got like such a kind of like a powerful message to say, but it says it in a way that like at first you'll want to kind of refuse. This is what's happening. Like, why is this happening? Like,
which a lot of people did.
Well, that's it. I know a lot of people that just saw cutscenes and refused to play the game.
Well, that was it. I mean, when the leaks came out, when he saw that like Joel died by Abby's hands, a lot of people were just like,
that's it, I'm done.
You know, F this game. You know, like, why do I want to play it? You know, you just killed my favorite character. Why did he have to die? And
but you're gonna play the game to understand that, though, aren't you?
But that's it. I think
not everything. As gamers, we can't expect everything to be handed to us like perfectly.
Exactly. Not everything's what we want it to be. And I think that's testament to the developers that make these games. They're not going to make it to cater to everybody. they're going to make it to invoke emotion and just to.
Because that was the crux to the whole story, Joel's death. So
Yeah.
it's kind of important that otherwise they wouldn't have had it in the story to tell.
Yeah, it would just be them chilling in the compound for like a few months, and then that's it. Done.
Going out a bit of fishing, bit of hunting.
Yeah, nobody wants that.
That's it.
Mm.
Well,
I
clearly
feel
those people did.
Yeah, I feel like if this game came out in like any other year than this year, it would have probably been accepted a little better. Because it came out in a time where everyone just wanted
Something happy and joyful.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
like Animal Crossing comes out and it's
Animal
the most
Crossing's-
successful
yeah.
game for Nintendo.
I mean, that's because you can just pump hours into it and build your place and stuff. But
Yeah, and it's a
I
nice
think in a way
escape.
that makes this game a little bit more powerful and a little bit more because we were a little bit maybe down in the dumps at that point, and this was here. Maybe it hit that bit more.
Yeah,
Maybe it caused that little bit more emotion.
yeah.
Although was it supposed to come out last year?
Well, in my local Smith's Toy Store, it had to be decided 2018 on some of the boxes.
2018.
Yeah, that early.
The Last of Us Part 2.
Yeah. Because me and Lisa
I
used to
couldn't
joke
imagine
about
it
it.
would come out 2 years ago.
I think it wasn't. That was like 4 years before it got released. Something like that.
No, it could have been.
Yeah. But anyway, I mean, Spider-Man, yeah, a fantastic game. We love it for the fun of it. We love it for the story.
It's got to the final for a reason.
Exactly. But we can't really look past The Last of Us Part 2 just for the pure highs and lows of what that game gives us.
The way I see it though is that basically it's very Last of Us Part 2 is a landmarking game, I think. And I don't think anything else on the entire list could be considered that.
Yeah, I think if you looked purely at gameplay, there probably is better games than The Last of Us Part 2, arguably. I think graphically, again, you could probably argue there's better looking games.
I'm going to disagree with that. I think it looks amazing.
You think Last of Us Part 2?
I think that's the best looking game in the list.
I'd say Horizon or God of War could rival it.
I would probably say Horizon.
I think it looks better than God of War.
Wow.
But anyway, that's a different argument.
Yeah, you've interjected into what I was saying. So we've got an argument there, but for pure emotion, where and just kind of like a masterful take on storytelling. I don't think any game, this gen, last gen, any generations really, and even some films.
This is the first Last of Us, really.
Well, yeah, no, I think even then you could probably argue maybe The Last of Us maybe told a better story. You could argue potentially.
I think it told,
but I don't think it took you on such of an emotional roller coaster as Part 2 did.
I think we've not even talked about Ellie finding out about her being the only one that could potentially make a cure. We've not even touched on that point in this conversation.
No, I mean we touched
on
on the special, but like that was a powerful moment as well. And I mean,
it's I just find it staggering for a game to purposely try and induce hatred in players. It's quite fascinating, really.
It's yeah. I don't think I've known any of a game's story to like purposefully make you hate a character so much,
purposely make you want to hate,
and then make you play as them to make you understand.
To then make you turn.
Yeah.
Like that twist was like, I didn't see it coming. I was.
It's
really
like
shocked.
reverse marketing, isn't it? Like making you hate something so much that you talk about it, then you get other people into it because you've got such an opinion about what's happening within the game. So you make other people do it.
It's just such a risky thing to do. to
Oh,
take
it
something
works.
so,
It's paid
so
off,
It's the
obviously.
biggest risk I think any
well, to take
game
something so
studios ever
beloved
take.
and then do something so monumentally twist it so much. I just thought it was a staggering piece of art, to be quite honest.
I'd agree.
So I think we have a winner, judging after all this.
Yeah, definitely.
So probably unsurprisingly, the winner is The Last of Us
Gran Turismo
Part 2. That's PS5, isn't it?
Yeah, he'll win.
That's a conversation for 7 years later.
But as you were saying
Sorry.
earlier, it's a testament to this generation of PS4. That amount of games is staggering. The quality of that list,
Exactly.
and even the ones that we hadn't even mentioned. So you got
Well,
things
yeah,
like
I mean, Gran Turismo 6, me mistakenly saying something like
GT
an idiot.
Sport, Concrete GD, Detroit Become Human, which is one that I really want to play.
Yeah. The Order 1886. Just saying.
Days Gone, which I've not played, but
Yeah,
I've a mixed bag of that. But I've heard a lot of people saying good stuff about it. So yeah, Last of Us Part 2. So there we have it.
Yep.
Any final thoughts?
I think I'm all out of emotions at this point.
out of emotions, out of drinks.
Oh, got drinks, my friend.
I mean, I can't. If this is what they can do, you know, the last generation, I suppose. I keep on forgetting we're already in current generation. It's not even next generation anymore.
I'm still going to call it next gen for ages. So.
Yeah, I'll probably call it next.
a
I'll call
year.
it next until I've got it.
Yeah.
But if this is what they've done in the PS4, I can't wait to see what they can do in the PS5 era.
That's it. We've got God of War 2 to look forward to. If they bring out another Last of Us, yeah, give it to me. Just so much yet to come.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, another Spider-Man we've got to
need
play.
to play Miles. I mean,
We've got to play as Miles in his
Ghost of Tsushima
story.
2.
Ghost of
Yeah,
Tsushima 2.
that is a thing.
Yeah.
um,
It's just such an exciting time. It's amazing. Like that we can have this emotion and this length of conversation about a few games on a platform. It's fantastic.
So there we have it then. We'll have another top of the pod in the not too distant future, so keep an eye out on YouTube for that. Our Joking Dolphin Gaming Podcast can be found on all good podcast providers. You can visit our website at jokingdolphin.com, where we post blogs and our video game hall of fame. Feel free to follow us on all social media platforms to continue the conversation. You can find Joking Dolphin on Facebook, as well as on Instagram and Twitter at Joking Dolphin. So until next time, thanks for watching. Goodbye.
bye.
Bye.